The Silent Watchers. The vast expanse of space stretched endlessly before the Zephyrian observation vessel Dominion's edge, as it maintained its position 3 astronomical units beyond Earth's orbital path. Commander Zektar stood before the primary, viewing portal, his forearms clasped behind his crystalline exoskeleton, watching the blue-green world that had captured the attention of the Zephyrian High Command. To his multifaceted eyes, Earth appeared utterly defenseless, spinning peacefully, in the void like a ripe fruit waiting to be plucked. "Status report, Navigator Velnash," Zektar commanded, his voice resonating through the ship's bio-neural communication system. The navigator's tentacles danced across her control interface with practiced efficiency. "Long-range scans confirm. Initial assessments, Commander. The third planet shows abundant water resources, breathable atmosphere composition, and extensive mineral deposits. Population estimates suggest approximately 8 billion inhabitants scattered across 7 major land masses." Zektar's mandibles clicked with satisfaction. The Zephyrian Empire had been expanding across the galaxy for over 3 millennia, and Earth represented exactly the type of resource-rich world they needed to fuel their continued growth. Their advanced biotechnology required rare minerals that this system possessed in abundance, and the primitive inhabitants would pose no significant resistance to their harvesting operations. "What of their defensive capabilities?" Zektar inquired, though he expected the answer to confirm their initial intelligence reports. Velnash's readings painted a picture of technological infancy: crude rocket propulsion systems, basic satellite networks, and primitive nuclear weapons. Their most advanced spacecraft barely qualify as interplanetary vehicles. Conservative estimates place their technological development at least 4 centuries behind our current standards. The commander's confidence swelled. The Zephyrian fleet had successfully claimed over 200 worlds, each conquest more efficient than the last. Earth would be no different. He was about to order the commencement of standard acquisition protocols when an alert tone echoed through the bridge. "Commander," Velnash said, her voice carrying an unexpected note of concern, "I'm detecting anomalous readings from the planet's surface. There are energy signatures that don't match their apparent technological level. Meanwhile, on Earth's surface," Dr. Sarah Chen pushed her wire-rimmed glasses up her nose as she studied the data streaming across her workstation at the Mauna Kea Deep Space Observatory. The gravitational wave detector had been picking up unusual patterns for the past 3 days. Patterns that shouldn't exist according to conventional physics. As the observatory's lead astrophysicist, Sarah had dedicated her career to listening to the cosmos. But these readings were unlike anything in the scientific literature. "Computer, enhance signal clarity by 15% and run a comparative analysis against all known stellar phenomena," she commanded, her fingers flying across the holographic interface. The results made her breath catch in her throat. The gravitational distortions were massive, indicating the presence of objects with tremendous mass positioned just beyond the solar system's outer boundaries. Yet visual confirmation showed nothing but empty space. Only one explanation fit the data: advanced cloaking technology, far beyond human capabilities. Sarah reached for her secure communication device, her hands trembling slightly as she placed the encrypted call to the Department of Defense. Within 30 minutes, her small observatory was buzzing with activity as military vehicles arrived under cover of darkness. Captain Marcus Rivera of Military Intelligence Division stepped into Sarah's laboratory, his sharp eyes immediately assessing the situation. At 42, Marcus had spent the last 15 years investigating unexplained phenomena that might pose threats to national security. His weathered face bore the marks of a man who had seen things the public never would, and his instincts were telling him that this discovery was bigger than anything he'd encountered before. "Dr. Chen," Marcus said, extending his hand, "I understand you've detected something unusual." Sarah nodded, gesturing toward her displays. "Captain, these readings indicate the presence of massive objects using technology that shouldn't exist. The gravitational signatures suggest vessels larger than our biggest aircraft carriers, positioned in formations that suggest military organization." Marcus studied the data with growing alarm. His classified briefings had prepared him for this possibility. though he had hoped it would never come to pass. For decades, a small group of scientists and military strategists had theorized about eventual extraterrestrial contact and had quietly prepared contingency plans. Now those theoretical preparations might be humanity's only hope. Dr. Chen, I need you to maintain absolute secrecy about these findings, Marcus said. What you've discovered may be the most important intelligence of the century. Within 6 hours, the most powerful leaders on Earth were gathering in a secure facility buried deep beneath the Swiss Alps. The emergency contact protocol, established in secret decades earlier, had been activated for the first time in human history. President Maria Santos of the United States, Premier Liu Wei of China, President Petrov of Russia, and representatives from every major nation sat around a circular table that seemed impossibly small given the magnitude of their discussions. General Patricia Hayes, chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, stood before a massive holographic display showing Sarah's data alongside additional intelligence gathered from secret monitoring stations around the globe. Ladies and gentlemen, we are no longer alone and our visitors do not appear to be here for peaceful purposes. The assembled leaders absorbed this information with varying degrees of shock and fear. President Santos leaned forward, her voice steady despite the circumstances. General, what are our options? General Hayes activated a new display that revealed humanity's greatest secret. For the past 40 years working under the classified Sentinel protocol, we have been preparing for this exact scenario. While the public believes our space program focused primarily on exploration and scientific research, we have actually been constructing a comprehensive planetary defense network. The holographic display now showed the true extent of human space-based assets. Hidden among legitimate satellites were weapons platforms, shielded command centers, and a fleet of advanced spacecraft that officially didn't exist. The technology, developed through international cooperation and funded through black budgets that dwarfed most national defense spending, represented humanity's most ambitious project. Project Sentinel has been operational for 8 years, General Hayes continued. Our defensive capabilities include directed energy weapons, kinetic bombardment systems, and a fleet of 36 stealth interceptors equipped with quantum jump drives. Additionally, we have deep space monitoring stations that can track objects as far out as the Kuiper Belt. Premier Liu Wei spoke for the first time. How is it possible that such a massive undertaking remained secret? Because, Premier, the survival of our species demanded it, President Santos replied. A small group of visionaries recognized that if we ever encountered hostile extraterrestrial intelligence, our best chance would be to appear weaker than we actually are while secretly preparing for the worst-case scenario. Aboard the Dominion's Edge, Commander Zektar was growing increasingly frustrated with the conflicting data his scouts were reporting. Their stealth reconnaissance drones had been conducting detailed surface scans for over a week, and the information they gathered painted a confusing picture of human civilization. The inconsistencies are troubling, Commander, reported Science Officer Kralith, his bioluminescent patches flickering with anxiety. Their public infrastructure suggests primitive technology, but we've detected energy signatures from multiple locations that approach our own technological standards. Zektar's confidence began to waver. In all their previous conquests, the Zephyrians had encountered species that followed predictable technological development patterns. Advanced civilizations displayed their capabilities openly, while primitive ones remained consistently simple across all technological domains. Earth seemed to defy these patterns. Could they be receiving assistance from another spacefaring species? Zektar asked. Negative, Commander. All evidence suggests independent development. However, their technological advancement appears to be concentrated in specific areas while remaining primitive in others. It's as if they deliberately concealed their true capabilities. The implication sent a chill through Zektar's exoskeleton. If humans had developed advanced technology while maintaining the appearance of primitive civilization, it suggested a level of strategic thinking that the Zephyrians had never encountered before. Back on Earth, Admiral Elena Vasquez stood on the command deck of the orbital station Terra's Shield, humanity's most advanced space-based facility. Hidden within what appeared to be a standard communications satellite, the station served as the central coordination point for Earth's defense network. Elena had been handpicked to command humanity's space forces, her 30 years of military service and advanced degrees in both astrophysics and tactical operations, making her uniquely qualified for this role. Through the station's viewports, Earth hung like a precious jewel against the star-filled void. Elena knew that somewhere beyond visual range, alien vessels were watching her world, assessing its value and planning its conquest. But they had made one critical error in their calculations. They had underestimated humanity's capacity for preparation and determination. "Admiral," her communications officer announced, "we're receiving the activation codes from Earth Command. All Sentinel stations are reporting ready status." Elena nodded grimly. The moment they had all hoped would never come had finally arrived. Humanity was about to discover whether 4 decades of secret preparation would be sufficient to protect their homeworld from an enemy whose technological capabilities remained largely unknown. "Signal all stations to maintain defensive postures," Elena commanded, "and prepare the beacon protocol for emergency activation. If we cannot defend Earth, we will at least ensure that our fate serves as a warning to others." Commander Zektar made his decision. Despite the troubling inconsistencies in their intelligence, the Zephyrian Empire needed Earth's resources, and delay would only allow the humans more time to prepare whatever defenses they might possess. He opened a communication channel to the Fleet Command vessel Imperial Harvest. "Fleet Commander Thax Allen, this is Zektar. I recommend we proceed with immediate acquisition operations. While the humans show some unexpected technological development, they remain vastly inferior to our capabilities." The response came swiftly. "Acknowledged, Commander Zektar. The High Command grows impatient with delays. You are authorized to commence harvesting operations immediately." As the Zephyrian fleet began moving toward Earth's position, their advanced sensors failed to detect the network of monitoring stations that had been tracking their every movement since their arrival. Humanity had been watching the Watchers, and the stage was set for a confrontation that would echo across the galaxy. The final phase of preparation began on both sides, neither fully understanding the capabilities of their opponent, but both committed to a course of action that would determine the fate of 2 civilizations and potentially reshape the balance of power among the stars. The galaxy's warning. The Zephyrian assault fleet moved through space with the confident precision of predators who had never known defeat. 47 vessels strong, including 6 massive harvesting ships designed to strip entire worlds of their resources, the fleet represented the pinnacle of Zephyrian military engineering. Commander Zektar stood on the bridge of the lead assault cruiser Void Render, watching Earth grow larger on the main display as they approached their final attack position. "All vessels report ready for bombardment sequence," announced Fleet Commander Thax Allen through the communication array. "Target their major population centers first. Resistance will collapse quickly once their command structures are eliminated." Zektar felt the familiar thrill of impending victory. Earth's primitive satellites had detected their approach just as expected. Radio transmissions from the planet's surface indicated panic among their governments and military forces. Everything was proceeding according to the standard conquest protocol that had proven successful across dozens of worlds. "Commence primary bombardment," Thax Allen ordered. The first wave of Zephyrian plasma charges streaked toward Earth, their destructive energy sufficient to level entire cities. But as they entered Earth's upper atmosphere, something unprecedented occurred. The deadly bolts of energy struck invisible barriers and dissipated harmlessly, their power absorbed and redirected by shield generators that shouldn't have existed. Aboard Terra's shield, Admiral Elena Vasquez watched the tactical display with grim satisfaction as Earth's defensive screens deflected the alien attack. The energy absorption networks, hidden within the planet's magnetosphere and powered by fusion reactors in low Earth orbit, had performed flawlessly. "All defensive platforms report successful energy dissipation," her tactical officer announced. The enemy bombardment was completely neutralized. Elena activated the fleet-wide communication system. "All Sentinel units, this is Admiral Vasquez. Execute Operation Prometheus. Show them what human ingenuity looks like." Across Earth's orbital space, 36 vessels that had been masquerading as space debris suddenly activated their cloaking systems and revealed themselves as advanced interceptors. Each ship, no larger than a fighter aircraft but equipped with quantum jump drives and directed energy weapons, represented a quantum leap in human technological achievement. Commander Zektar watched in growing horror as his supposedly primitive enemy unveiled capabilities that rivaled their own. "How is this possible?" he demanded, his forearms gesticulating wildly. "Our intelligence indicated they possessed only basic rocket technology." The answer came in the form of quantum-displaced human fighters materializing directly within the Zephyrian formation. The jump drives allowed instantaneous movement across vast distances, giving the smaller human vessels a tactical advantage that their size and numbers couldn't normally provide. Captain Maria Rodriguez piloted her interceptor Lightning's Edge through the chaos of the battle, her neural interface allowing her to process information and react at superhuman speeds. The years of training in Earth's secret facilities had prepared her for this moment, and she felt no fear as she engaged targets that outmassed her ship by factors of hundreds. "Target their command vessel's communication arrays," she transmitted to her squadron. "If we can blind them, they can't coordinate their response." The human fighters moved with precision that seemed impossible, their quantum jumps allowing them to appear and disappear like ghosts in the cosmic battlefield. Zephyrian return fire passed harmlessly through empty space as the human ships materialized elsewhere, striking critical systems before vanishing again. Fleet Commander Thax Allen found himself facing a military disaster unlike anything in Zephyrian history. "All vessels retreat to defensive formation. How are they moving like that?" Science Officer Krelith's analysis was devastating. "Commander, they're using quantum displacement technology. Our model suggested such systems were theoretically possible, but required computational power beyond what we believed they possessed." The revelation struck Thax Allen like a physical blow. If humans had mastered quantum jump technology, their other assessments might be equally flawed. "Recall all assault units. We need to reassess their capabilities before continuing this engagement." But Admiral Vasquez had no intention of allowing the enemy to regroup. Phase 2 of Operation Prometheus was already underway. From hidden positions throughout the asteroid belt, massive railgun platforms emerged from concealment. These weapons, powered by antimatter reactors and guided by quantum computation systems, could accelerate projectiles to significant fractions of light speed. "Fire solutions calculated and locked," reported the tactical officer aboard Terra's shield. "All railgun platforms report ready." "Execute Phase 2, Elena commanded. The kinetic projectiles crossed the space between the asteroid belt and Earth's orbital zone in mere seconds. Guided by quantum-entangled targeting systems, they struck Zephyrian vessels with devastating precision. 3 enemy cruisers were completely destroyed, their advanced armor proving inadequate against projectiles moving at relativistic speeds. Commander Zektar's vessel shuddered under the impact of multiple hits. "Damage report," he shouted over, the alarms filling the bridge. "Hull breaches on levels 12 through 18. Main drive systems are offline. Commander, we need to withdraw immediately." But Elena Vasquez wasn't finished demonstrating human capabilities. Hidden within Earth's moon was humanity's most ambitious project, a mass acceleration cannon capable of launching projectiles across interstellar distances. The weapon had been designed not just for defense, but to send a message that would be heard throughout the galaxy. "Activate the beacon protocol," Elena ordered. Deep within Luna's core, fusion reactors that had been quietly operating for 15 years reached full power output. The massive electromagnetic accelerator, carved from the moon's interior and lined with superconducting materials, began charging for its first and most important shot. President Santos stood in the secure command bunker, watching the battle unfold on screens fed by quantum-entangled communication systems. The moment she had both hoped for and dreaded had arrived. She activated her personal communication device, broadcasting on frequencies that would reach every inhabited system within 50 light-years. "This is President Maria Santos of Earth, speaking on behalf of all humanity," she began, her voice calm despite the magnitude of the moment. "We have been attacked by forces of the Zephyrian Empire, who believed our world defenseless and our people primitive. They have learned otherwise." The lunar cannon fired its specially designed payload, a quantum communication probe that would broadcast Earth's message across the galaxy while demonstrating human technological capabilities to any civilization within range. The projectile accelerated to nearly 10% of light speed before activating its own quantum jump drive, allowing it to reach distant star systems in a matter of hours rather than decades. "Let this serve as notice to any who would threaten Earth," President Santos continued. "Humanity is not defenseless. We are not primitive. We have spent decades preparing for this day, and we will defend our world with technologies and determination that may surprise those who underestimate us." Fleet Commander Thaxalen received the quantum-transmitted message aboard his heavily damaged flagship. The implications of what he was hearing made his bioluminescent patches flicker with distress. "They're broadcasting this across the entire local galactic sector. Every spacefaring civilization within 50 light-years will receive their message." The Zephyrian retreat was swift and chaotic. Of the 47 vessels that had approached Earth with confidence, only 23 remained capable of interstellar travel. The others had been destroyed or disabled by weapon systems that shouldn't have existed, deployed by a species that had appeared utterly helpless just hours earlier. As the alien fleet limped away from Earth's orbital zone, Admiral Vasquez opened communications with the retreating vessels. "Zephyrian commanders, this is Admiral Elena Vasquez of the Earth Defense Force. Your fleet is withdrawing under our protection. We could destroy your remaining vessels, but we choose not to. Return to your empire and tell them what you learned here today." The message was clear. Humanity possessed not only the capability to defend itself, but also the wisdom to show mercy to defeated enemies. This combination of strength and restraint would prove even more unsettling to potential aggressors than mere military might alone. 3 days later, the first responses to Earth's galactic broadcast began arriving. The Altarian Federation, a peaceful alliance of 12 star systems, sent congratulations and an offer of scientific exchange. The Centauri Trade Consortium requested formal diplomatic contact to discuss economic cooperation. Even the fearsome Kethler Empire, known for their aggressive expansion policies, transmitted a message of respectful acknowledgement. But the most significant response came from the Galactic Council, a loose confederation of the oldest and most advanced civilizations in the local galactic sector. Their message was brief but carried enormous implications. "The species of Earth are hereby recognized as a sovereign spacefaring civilization, with all rights and protections accorded to such status under galactic accords." Dr. Sarah Chen stood once again in her observatory, but now her instruments detected a very different picture of local space. Where once there had been only the familiar planets and stars, her sensors now tracked diplomatic vessels from dozens of civilizations, all approaching Earth with peaceful intentions. Captain Marcus Rivera, now promoted to Director of Extraterrestrial Affairs, worked around the clock to establish protocols for humanity's first official contact with galactic civilization. The quiet military intelligence officer had become one of the most important diplomats in human history, tasked with navigating relationships with species whose capabilities and intentions remained largely unknown. Meanwhile, in the distant Zephyrian Empire, Commander Zektar stood before the High Council delivering his report on the failed Earth operation. The crystalline chamber fell silent as he described humanity's hidden capabilities and their demonstration of both advanced technology and strategic restraint. "The species of Earth are unlike any we have encountered," Zektar concluded. "They prepared for war while maintaining the appearance of peace. They demonstrated superior technology while offering mercy to their enemies. The High Council must consider that our expansion policies may need revision in light of what we have learned." High Counselor Vex Halar's response carried implications that would reshape Zephyrian strategy for generations to come. "Perhaps it is time we learned from conquest through cooperation rather than domination. If the humans of Earth can achieve such advancement through unity and preparation, there may be wisdom in their approach that we have overlooked." Back on Earth, President Santos addressed her people for the first time since the crisis began. Standing before the United Nations General Assembly, with representatives from every nation on Earth and now, for the first time, several extraterrestrial civilizations, she spoke words that would define humanity's place in the galaxy. We have proven that the human spirit, combined with human ingenuity and determination, can meet any challenge. We faced the unknown with courage, preparation, and unity. But more importantly, we showed that strength without wisdom is mere brutality, and that true power lies not in the ability to destroy, but in the choice to protect and build. Admiral Vasquez, now serving as humanity's first director of galactic defense, looked out from Terra's shield at a cosmos that had forever changed. The secret preparations, the hidden technologies, and the careful strategies had all been revealed, but they had served their purpose. Humanity had earned its place among the stars not through conquest or submission, but through demonstrated capability and principled action. The galaxy had received humanity's warning, and the message was clear. Earth was no longer the primitive, defenseless world that some had believed it to be. Humanity had announced its presence with a voice that echoed across the stars, backed by technologies that commanded respect, and guided by principles that invited cooperation. The age of humanity's isolation was over, and their journey among the stars had truly begun.